Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of my 2022 Giro d'Italia team rankings. We're going to kick things off with Bora Hansgrohe. 2 stage wins and the pink jersey isn't a bad return at all really, especially when you didn't expect Bora to come into the race and fight for the win. Stages and the top 5 to top 10 would have been a very realistic goal for them. They achieved 2 stage wins by stage 9, Leonard Kamner on Etna and Hindley on Blockhouse, which I do think Hindley had a bad day on. He got dropped by Carapaz, Landa and Bardet, and with help from Almeida, definitely needed help from Almeida to get back on. Stage 14 to Torino, they really lit things up, and I'll talk more about the dynamics of that stage with Ineos, but I think that dealt a real psychological blow to Ineos and the whole GC guys. Carapaz was the only guy to not lose time apart from bonuses, and Hindley got within 3 seconds of the GC. The rest of the mountain stages, as we saw, were a bit dull. Hindley, Landa, Carapaz working to outdo it, gain time on Almeida. So it came down to Passo Fidaya up to Marmolada on stage 20. Ineos took control of the final climb, but it was Hindley with Leonard Kamner up the road that really put in the decisive attack, dropping Carapaz, who cracked completely, and didn't win the stage, but he took a minute and a half and then enough time for him not to worry about the final stage TT. Took the pink jersey, fantastic result for him and Australia and the team. First Giro win for the Aussies, first Grand Tour win for Bora, easily a 10 out of 10. Cofidis went into the race looking at Guillaume Martin to get a Grand Tour stage win and a good result on the overall classification. I think him going for GC is a massive mistake, but that's what they want. And he yo-yoed as Guillaume Martin does, and ultimately finished 14th, nearly half an hour down. Got nowhere near winning the stage, got nowhere near the top 10. Poor race again from Cofidis. I do think if they were to change how Martin rides and goes all out for stage wins, I think he could really win a few stages and gain even the King of the Mountains jersey as well. Cofidis, 3. They were poor for me. Drone Hopper came into the race as they normally do to get into breakaways, get into as many breakaways as possible, hope that they can grab a stage win from a breakaway, and that'll make their season. This time they had a bit of a stronger team for that. You potentially thought you had Tesfazion, Cepeda, and Sepulveda, but none of them really looked like going into the right break to win the stage. They won, I think, the intermediate sprints competition with Tagliani, and Bice won the most kilometres in the breakaway, I think. But Tesfazion nearly won, was in the break on the stage, and then crashed on a descent. Cepeda was nowhere to be seen, and Sepulveda got into a few breaks, but really was nowhere to be seen. And I had those 3 on my Velo Games team, and they were shocking. So I am going to give Drone Hopper a generous 2 out of 10. EF, Education-Easypost, came to the Giro with the sole aim of getting Hugh Carthy as high up the GC as they possibly can. And up until Blockhouse, things went very well for them. Blockhouse, however, he began to slip and slide down the GC. He was one of those that lost big time on stage 14 to Torino, and let's be honest, they never truly looked like winning a stage before or after that. They did have a lot of riders have to pull out through illness. Hugh Carthy fought hard in the final week to get a top 10, but ultimately, someone aiming for a top 5 sort of podium contender, finishing ninth, nearly 18 minutes back, is neither here nor there. 4 out of 10 for EF, Education-Easypost. After Eolo Cometa's fantastic 2021 debut Giro, high hopes for particularly for Lorenzo Fortunato going into the race, thinking maybe of a top 10, but I'd say probably more of a stage win. He was consistent. He did all right. He got 15th on GC, but he never looked like, similarly to Guillaume Martin, he never looked like going for a stage win. Their brightest hope for a win turned out to be Diego Rosa, and he very nearly won a couple of days in the breakaway, and he spent a fair few days in the King of the Mountains jersey as well. It's a shame Lorenzo Fortunato didn't go get a stage win. I do like Eolo Cometa. I think you probably had Benji to thank for that. Again, they were pretty poor. I'm going to give a 3.5 out of 10 for Eolo Cometa. Thank you for watching part 2 of my team rankings. Join me tomorrow for part 3, where I will be looking at Groupama, Ineos, Intermarché, Israel Premier Tech, and finally Jumbo Visma. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on James Talks Cycling.